Right, so there's been talks about reinstating music groups in the Ghana Music Awards scheme. It has been taken off for some time now. What is your take on the conversation going on?
This is very interesting. Music groups back in the day, in the early 2000s, were influx. There were many because that was the norm. Producers like JQ will tell you that you need a singer and a rapper to be in a group so that you can appeal to multi audience. Back in the day, so you find groups like 4x4. There's a singer, there's a rapper, there's Abortion who has changed his name, and it's Captain Planet, right? So it was like that, and they added. You have a group like VIP. There were rappers, book back. So that was the tradition, because that at the time producers like that thought that it was easier to catch their attention. Also, don't forget that Ghanaian music industry has influence from outside. So around that same time, a lot of boys, there were a lot of groups, there are a lot of groups in hip hop at the time. So it was the same format that we duplicated in Ghana. Fast forward, music groups have become an issue because two people who have different perspective about life, two people who have different ideologies about life, two people who have different interests about music coming together to work. At some point, everybody wants to become a leader. And so over time, we started losing the music groups. I remember I managed a music group called Double. Not managed. I introduced a music group to the industry called Double, Parkway and NY. And then we released Walai Talai, A Mana. We released Seke. We did Good Mood. So many hit songs. And these are two individuals who were doing music as solo artists before they came together to form a group. And so after some time, that soloness part of you kicks in. So the feeding of the music groups is something that has grown over time. So to say that Ghana Music Awards should bring it back, we will have to see a lot of music groups coming into the system again. Now, with these young cats, how many music groups do you have? You can officially count them on top of your head. So you have DopeNation, you have Keche,
Lali and Lola,
and then who else?
Asaka.
Asaka is not a group. It's a movement. So they come together and do music. Like maybe La Mem Gang. So let's say Asaka. How many songs did Asaka release within the year under review?
2024.
Yes. How many songs together as a group? So it becomes predictable. So even if the group that they don't work hard, they know they will get a nomination. But this is the hack. If you are a group, you are also an artist. Therefore, you can also be nominated for Best Hip Hop Song if you're a hip hop group. If you can also be nominated for Best Overall Song of the Year, like DopeNation. It's possible to get a nomination for Song of the Year because they had so many hit songs under the year under review. You can also be nominated for Artist of the Year if you do your things right. So you have other opportunities in the scheme, not just necessarily just the Group of the Year. So the Group of the Year, like any other category, like African hip hop or hip life artists or hip hop artists, right? But there are so many of those people out there. So the competition is tight. But the competition is not very tight there. So in as much as it would have been nice to use the award scheme to fix that problem, it will also be nice to see that people go back into forming groups. Maybe Charterhouse should look at beyond the artistry and look at bands. Because there's a Fra band, that's a group.
Yeah.
There's the Afro Harmony band, Santrophy band. So these are all groups. So maybe Charterhouse should look beyond just artistry and look at bands, because they're also artists. If Charterhouse can go beyond that and look at bands, then we can have a competition. Because we have a lot of bands in the country who are doing very well, touring outside. There's Kwampa, who play amazing traditional and modernized music. So if maybe they look at that, then we can have a gig. Also, the Christendom has a lot of groups. The choirs, they're a group. So maybe Charterhouse should also look at that and say, okay, there's the Bethel Revival Choir. There's the Diffie guys. I forgot. Team Eternity, and there are other choir groups out there. So
Creative Nation.
So when we put all of them together with the bands and with the singers and the rappers who are forming groups, maybe we can have competition. Then we can bring the Group of the Year back. But until that happens, they also have equal opportunity to be nominated in any of the categories apart from being Group of the Year. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So I for once, I would love that the award scheme is used to correct the industry. So there are certain genres that don't get highlighted. So it makes it hard for young artists to work in it. One is alternative music. We have some amazing alternative artists in the country, but there's no recognition for them. So when you are in that space, it's very tough for you. Also, another one is the traditional music, which is not highlighted in the main award scheme, but is given as a sidebar at the award scheme. Maybe if we can create 2 or 3 more categories in the traditional sector, because we have people like Riala and those guys, Kenai Soba, Abia, they do a lot of this traditional funk music. So we can find a way of bringing them also. The award scheme must help us to correct the industry so that every year we can discover new talents, we can discover new genres, we can discover new groups, and we can recycle them, and that comes to benefit the whole ecosystem. So that's what I think.
Okay, so talking about correcting the system, don't you think the introduction of the groups is actually going to, like, a scheme for the groups, is actually going to help bring back or revitalize some of the dead groups?
I have already answered that. I that's why I said that maybe Charterhouse should look outside the scope and say that, okay, so bands are groups. So there are, I mean, there's the Ohiabeya band, Santrophy band, Kwampa, Afro Harmony. I just listed 4. Bethel, Revival Choir, Team Eternity, all these gospel choirs, they're all groups. And then there's Keche, there's DopeNation, there's the usual of the groups.
Yeah.
So when you box all of them into one space, and you have close to like 10, so you can actually select 4. But it also depends on how well or how hard these groups also
Are
working under the year, the calendar year for the Ghana Music Awards. So yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. Really appreciate having you.
One play. Add class to your music.